Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, exposing the fake news to give you the real news. Yes, I'm flying solo once again by myself tonight, but that's okay. We're good to go. In case you didn't know, a little bomb dropped this morning. We were anticipating the Mueller report to come out this morning. Matter of fact, it did, and not only did it come out this morning, but Attorney General Barr decided to go ahead and have a press conference before it was to be released to kind of give a heads up of what this was going to be about, what the entire thing was. And what I did is I took the whole meeting. It was probably about 20, 25 minutes long. The questions at the end were awful, and so he just decided to go ahead and walk away. The only good question I thought that came out at the very end of Attorney General Mueller's description of the 443 pages of the Mueller report from Catherine Heritage was about indictments to come, if they're still looking for something down that road. He said, we're not going to talk about that right now. We'll get it maybe next week. We're going to talk about that right now. So we've got some great information. We've got some great clips. One from Joe DeGeneva. It was on Sean Hannity's show last night. Now, it was before the Mueller report was released, but what Joe DeGeneva did say is pretty groundbreaking and also mirrors some other folks that are talking about what's going to happen next week. And we do have reports coming out saying that Attorney General Barr already has both hands full of indictments. So it's out of our control. All we can do is just watch at this point in time. Folks, this is a circus. It is a crazy circus. All we can do is watch and wait and hope. And if it makes you upset, if you get nervous about all this stuff, go to a quiet room, sit down, and just pray about it. It's not that big a deal. It really is. I mean, it is a big deal in the sense that this is the attempt to coup to overthrow our country. I'm not going to make a light about it not being a big deal, but you don't have to internalize it and worry about it and be all upset about it. That's what I'm saying. Don't worry. Don't do that. But knowing the facts, knowing that the right players are in place, Attorney General Barr, folks, this is the knight in shining armor. This is the knight that rode in on the white horse. Y'all been waiting for something, and this is it. Hang your hat on this one. This guy is a Boy Scout. He's solid. What he's saying is calculated. It's very easily understood. He goes by the letter of the law. You want to talk about legal. This guy is by the letter of the law, and so we're really excited about it. So the 20-minute thing that happened today, I got down here. I took it, I mashed it up, I cut it up, and I clipped it into 2 minutes and 20 seconds because on Twitter, that's the longest you can put up a video unless you do some other things, which I haven't done yet. But 220 is the limit. And normally, if it's longer than 220, people don't like to watch. Normally, if it's more than a minute and a half, that's the attention span nowadays. More than a minute and a half, man. People are like, woo. I was sitting there on the YouTubes watching the Mark Dice, and my daughter said, hey, let's watch that next one. I said, no, man, that's 10 minutes long. I ain't got time for that. We got to get to getting. But anyways, I digress. So I cut it to 220, and don't worry about it. If you missed the 20-minute Attorney General Barr's briefing, this is all you need to know about it right here.
As you know, one of the primary purposes of the special counsel's investigation was to determine whether President Trump's campaign or any individual associated with it conspired or coordinated with the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. Quote, investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. We now know that the Russian operatives who perpetrated these schemes did not have the cooperation of President Trump or the Trump campaign. or the knowing assistance of any other American for that matter. But the special counsel found no evidence that any American, including anyone associated with the Trump campaign, conspired or coordinated with the Russian government or the IRA. Indeed, as the report states, quote, the investigation did not identify evidence that any U.S. person knowingly or intentionally coordinated with the IRA's interference operation, unquote. But again, the special counsel's report did not find any evidence that members of the Trump campaign or anyone associated with the campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government. Here, too, the special counsel's report did not find that any person associated with the Trump campaign illegally participated in the dissemination of the materials. The special counsel did not find any conspiracy to violate U.S. law involving Russian-linked persons and any persons associated with the Trump campaign. That the evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense. So that's the bottom line. After nearly 2 years of investigation, thousands of subpoenas, hundreds of warrants, and witness interviews, the special counsel confirmed that the Russian government sponsored efforts to illegally interfere with the 2016 presidential election, but did not find that the Trump campaign or other Americans colluded in those efforts.
And there you have it. No collusion, no collusion, no collusion, collusion, delusion. Donald Trump's been saying that all along. We've been parroting that. We've been talking about this for the last 2 years. Matter of fact, going all the way back to December 11, 2016, when we did our show, Russia, Russia, Russia. It is just out of control. However, Barr coming in and knocking this thing out of the park, unemotional and just straight to the facts. And as you heard, for those of you audio only, the beep, every time it beeped, he was saying that there was no collusion, and then a number popped up on the screen. So in the 20-minute press conference, there were 9 times where he said there was no collusion, and no collusion of Trump campaign, no collusion of Americans, no collusion of anybody. However, in the report, it does say that Russians came after Trump and attempted to intervene in Trump's campaign, and every single time it was not received and not accepted. Those actors attempting to get to Trump's campaign that claim to be Russian, I speculate, and we do know for a fact, but I speculate a lot of that, and some of that we know for a fact, some of it we don't, that it was the FBI attempting to infiltrate into Donald Trump's campaign, pretending to be a Russian spy. Anybody know where Halper is? I need to get a hold of. How about Misfed? Where's Misfed or whatever the dude's name is? Where are these guys now? These are the ones pretending to be Russian spies, attempting to get a hold of George Papadopoulos, attempting to get a hold of Carter Page when they're outside of the country. Yeah, sorry guys. Nope. So, anyways, before we get into all this stuff, and I want to unravel this and really unroll this so that you know when you go on social media, you can clearly see all the fake news, because it is in full afterburner mode. I mean when those fighter jets are taking off and they got the flame coming out the back, and you got the afterburners all the way down. That's CNN, MSNBC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, every single outlet. There is not one outlet that is not putting some massive spin on this with absolute insanity. And the biggest spin that they're putting on this is not that there was collusion, but that there was obstruction. The Mueller Report, it shows, and we'll get in through it, the possible obstructions that they saw, but they didn't charge. Mueller said Mueller didn't say anything. Mueller left it open so that Barr and Rosenstein would have to make the final decision on collusion and the reason, or obstruction. And the reason for that was a big giant HIT show. That's what this was. This is a last-ditch effort by the Mueller investigation to attack Donald Trump and his just him in general, just to attack Donald Trump in general. I've been feverishly going back and forth on our private message meetup group with our Patreons, and Sam Keels parroting or saying what I'm thinking, and he put that out there, and I absolutely agree with you 100% that the obstruction part of the report is a personal attack on Trump, nothing more. Sam Keels, thank you, bro. And it's an absolute fact. So we're going to get into all this. And folks, you're listening to New Right Network tonight. If this is the first time you've been on the show, crush the share, crush the follow. If you're on Facebook, share this with your Trump groups. All the groups that you're in that are Trump groups, share this show in your Trump groups. It really helps. They love it. They love to get the real news as well. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe and hit the bell. Make sure you get the notifications. And if you're on the Twitters and the Periscopes, make sure you're following us at New Right Network, myself at Brian P. Smith, and my co-host and cousin Carrie at Smith Radio. Wayne Dupree coming on board. I'm so excited. Wayne Dupree is joining the family at New Right Network. It's going to be good times, really pushing this organization forward. If you're a writer, or if you want to learn how to write, or if you just enjoy writing, jump over to newrightnetwork.com. There's a place where you can apply to be a writer. If you like doing videos and video vlogs, things like this, jump on over there. We'll bringing everybody into the fold, getting out the real news. And for us here, Smith.tv, that's where we are at. Jump over there. We do this out of our pockets, our own personal pockets, along with our Patreons who have been tremendous throughout the shadow banning years. Thank you so much, folks. And if you like what you hear, jump over to Smith.tv, become a Patreon, shop at the store, do something to help out new media. And with that being said, let's get right into the Mueller Report. We did the Barr wrap-up, the 220 Barr wrap-up, and if you're just jumping on, I'll play that again halfway at the bottom of the hour. But the Mueller describes acts of potential obstruction. Right, acts of potential obstruction, and this is what the mainstream media is running on. They are desperate to find something. There's no there, if you will, and I'm just queuing this up real quick. Mark Dice came out with another parody where he parodies little baby Brian Stelter, but we'll get to that later in the hour. And but yeah, so Mueller's describing acts of potential obstruction, not real obstruction. And here's some of the potential acts of obstruction of justice, and he reached no legal conclusion. There's no legal conclusion. And again, I said he left it up to Barr and to Rosenstein to determine. Barr looked at it, looked back and forth, looked at all of it, saw no malice intent, saw no obstruction whatsoever. And that's why Barr made the ruling. Now, people are getting all fired up. There's a lot of hate going on right now. What's his face? Pencil neck, Adam Schiff. He did a press conference, getting all bent out of shape and all upset. Nadler took to the TVs, to the cameras. He's all upset. He's out of shape. Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck U. Schumers, they are just in full-blown Trump derangement syndrome, as well as, again, I said the mainstream media, they are absolutely in hysterics right now. And that's why trending on Twitter in America, hashtag impeach Trump. Hashtag impeach Trump. For what? Absolutely for what? This was, Trump tweets this out all the time. Presidential harassment. We have never seen harassment like this on this level of a president in our, I don't think ever in the history of America have we seen harassment of a president like this. And we're going to get into some of the details of this, but I want to make sure, I'm going to say this multiple times, and I was talking with the New Right Network writers and some of the heads, and don't forget, do not let this go. Today's information that was released in the Mueller report, whatever it is, And I've gone through a lot of it, and there's a lot of people digging into it. And Catherine Heritage is doing a great job on Fox News reporting the facts. She even reported she report the facts. I absolutely respect her 100%. There's one very difficult part in there, but I'll get to that in a minute. But remember, today's information will be used to distract from the fact that the entire Trump campaign, everybody in the campaign was illegally spied upon by the Barack Hussein Obama administration. The entire Donald Trump campaign. We're not talking Watergate. Watergate with some recordings and broke into the DNC and got some files and paperwork. We're talking about listening in on full-blown conversations illegally of Donald Trump, Trump Jr., the family, the associates, Carter Page, Papadopoulos, General Flynn. The entire campaign was spied upon the entire time. Going back, and we're getting reports now from John Solomon, going all the way back to 2016. Early 2016, the Obama administration spying on the Trump team. Folks, this is beyond illegal. This is stuff that gets people thrown in prison for long periods of time. So I just want to make that clear. They also continued to spy on Donald Trump after his election, based on the Steele dossier, which is literally no information. None. Russian PP dossier gate. Donald Trump rented a hotel room in the Kremlin or Moscow, whatever. The exact same room that Barack Obama stayed in with Michelle Mabel. And apparently Donald Trump paid women of the night to engage in some type of water sports. Come on, man. Come on, man. BuzzFeed got it wrong. This report also destroys BuzzFeed. This report also destroys Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele with the Russian PP dossier gate. This report destroys everything. This was written by Mueller. Mueller personally attacked Trump with the obstruction of justice part and left it open-ended, forcing Barr to wrap up the loose ends, which legally, that's his job. He's supposed to do that, appointed by Trump. And so you can see where people are getting triggered. People are not liking the fact that Barr wrapped this up. Mueller did it on purpose to force Barr to wrap it up, to make it look, the optics of this. Mueller's gaslighting you. Mueller's gaslighting the Democrat Party and the ones who are deranged that believe in all of this. I truly think there are some elected officials. Swalwell, I think he really is mentally, he's not all there. I think he probably does believe in all this. Mad Maxine, I think she probably truly believes this. And so Mueller intentionally gaslighting the party and the voters by forcing Attorney General Barr to wrap it up and make it look like that Trump's man got him off the hook. That's the story. That's the narrative. That is the narrative. However, the report, again, destroys Russian PCP dossier gate, destroys Fusion GPS, destroys all of this. Trump was spied on. No evidence. American citizens' lives were destroyed based on no evidence. This has to stop. We cannot continue as a country, a civil, law-abiding, legally bound to the laws country. We cannot be that country. We cannot be lawless and allow this to continue to happen. Because if this isn't shut down in a way to where this cannot ever happen again. It will happen again. And the next time we might not be there to catch it. Folks, if Hillary Clinton had stole the election, we would have never come back. There would have never have been a return to our civilization and a law and order society. Donald Trump is bringing a law and order society. And we've got to trust that. Look at how this has played out. Look at how this played out. I know everybody was screaming and yelling, wrap it up, fire Mueller, do this, do that. Trump did nothing. And in the report it says Trump did nothing. Trump absolutely did nothing to impede Mueller. Evidence was given. People gave testimony. Never at any given time that Trump not cooperate with Mueller. Mueller made comments about Trump's answers, written answers were phony baloney, but whatever. A lot of this is salacious hair salon gossip. I'm serious. A lot of this stuff is just hair salon gossip. And when I say hair salon, I go to a hair salon, so I'm not being sexist. I think I'm throwing those ladies under the bus. And believe me, when Carrie and I get together, we talk for hours on end. Okay, let's get into it. WikiLeaks. Attorney General Barr literally exonerated WikiLeaks this morning. During the interview with the reporters, I'm losing my mind. During the interview with the reporters, Attorney General Barr said that WikiLeaks releasing Hillary Clinton emails, John Podesta emails, is not illegal. However, if somebody were to be working with Russia and then released them, then there's the illegality. The illegal part of it is actually working with Russia to obtain and extract information. I know Jack Posobiec talked about this in the scope. And yes, we live in a really dangerous time for journalists to walk on eggshells, to be the first one to get the real information, the right information coming out, protecting their sources. And it's Julian Assange and this whole issue right now and WikiLeaks dancing on eggshells. I'm going to give you my personal prediction on WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. I'm going to say that they're going to find that it's going to be drawn out like this. And at the end, they're going to say there was no there. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Too bad. So sad. So campaign officials privately sought, and this says in the Mueller report, says that Donald Trump's campaign officials, doesn't say Trump, just says campaign officials, on their own privately sought out information provided by WikiLeaks, the dirt on Hillary Clinton, the dirt on her campaign. However, not illegal. Sorry, man. Sorry. There was one. There was one part of the Mueller report that said that Donald Trump, Trump Jr. told other officials in the campaign that WikiLeaks gave him a password to a website, and he told the folks in the campaign that he typed the password in and it worked. That was it. But it's still not illegal. It's still not illegal. Barr, and again, I said Barr pretty much exonerated WikiLeaks. GRU, it's like the FBI for Russia. This is in the Mueller report. GRU stole documents from the DNC, including opposition research on Trump campaign. I find this kind of strange. They're claiming that Russia stole certain documents, hacked into the server, saw different things and removed them, and said that they removed Trump campaign information. I don't know how they know that. Seems being the DNC did not turn over their servers to the FBI. And I'm just thinking this out loud right now. That is kind of strange. Unless the Mueller, that part of the Mueller report is based on Hillary Clinton's statement that was unofficial, not under oath, no notes taken, no recordings, and she had one lawyer and another woman with her, part of her campaign, her advisors who were previously deposed by the FBI, and then sat in on her testimony. Highly unprofessional, illegal, possibly. And remember, the FBI wanted the laptop of her lawyers and the other officials, and they did what? No, they stalled. And then Comey raided the office. No, Comey didn't do that. Comey gave them 100% immunity after months of negotiation, and then they turned them over completely bleach bit. There you go. That's all. No collusion here, man. It's all good. So we are at the bottom of the hour, and I promised for those of you just joining right now, bottom of the hour, the Mueller Report released. We're going over the issues of the Mueller Report. Barr held a press conference this morning, about 20-some minutes. Here is the highlight reel, the 2-minute and 20-clip highlight reel for those of you audio only. You'll hear beeps. Every time you hear a beep, that is when Attorney General Barr pretty much exonerates Trump and any American from any kind of Russian collusion. Check it out.
As you know, one of the primary purposes of the special counsel's investigation was to determine whether President Trump's campaign or any individual associated with it conspired or coordinated with the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. Quote, investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. We now know that the Russian operatives who perpetrated these schemes did not have the cooperation of President Trump or the Trump campaign, or the knowing assistance of any other American for that matter. But the special counsel found no evidence that any American, including anyone associated with the Trump campaign, conspired or coordinated with the Russian government or the IRA. Indeed, as the report states, quote, the investigation did not identify evidence that any U.S. person knowingly or intentionally coordinated with the IRA's interference operation, unquote. But again, the special counsel's report did not find any evidence that members of the Trump campaign or anyone associated with the campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government. Here, too, the special counsel's report did not find that any person associated with the Trump campaign illegally participated in the dissemination of the materials. The special counsel did not find any conspiracy to violate U.S. law involving Russian-linked persons and any persons associated with the Trump campaign. That the evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense. So that's the bottom line. After nearly 2 years of investigation, thousands of subpoenas, hundreds of warrants, and witness interviews, the special counsel confirmed that the Russian government sponsored efforts to illegally interfere with the 2016 presidential election, but did not find that the Trump campaign or other Americans colluded in those efforts.
So there you go. That is the wrap-up from the Mueller report, and that's Attorney General Barr giving his pretty much verbal summary of the report. And as we start to round this out, again, don't forget today's information will be used to distract you from the fact that Trump's entire campaign was spied upon by Barack Obama. Everybody was spied upon, even after the election, based on zero evidence. Don't get distracted. I'm watching Fox News. I'm watching CNN, and all those. They'll do what they'll do. And I'm watching all these outlets. Nobody is saying that, folks. We've got to continue to to tell the truth about what's really going on. And that's right here, folks. New Right Network tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Brian Smith, for the night. And tomorrow I'll have my co-host, Carrie Smith, on board as well. And we are talking about the collusion, delusion, and now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of obstruction. Trump obstructed. Mueller on purposely did not rule on the obstruction, on purposely to hand it off to Barr so Barr would be forced to go ahead and wrap it up and rule on it. Barr did. He saw nothing. Rosenstein did. He saw nothing. And I got to give it to hand at Rod Rosenstein, Mr. Houdini. I tell you what, man, somebody needs to put Rod Rosenstein's head on Houdini in a chained up watertight box. If you don't understand the reference to that, don't worry about it. Okay, so more of what the Mueller report said. It said that the Russian business and the tower meeting, the report said that Trump said nothing to do with Russia. Okay, remember he said he had nothing to do with Russia. The Russian skyscraper or the tower they were going to build in Russia. We got nothing to do with that. That evaporated, fell apart. True, Trump is right. It did fall apart, and that was it. But the Mueller report states that they sought out permits. The Trump organization sought out permits. All right, so what? That was before Trump was president. Doesn't matter. WashingTimes writes, kind of a hit piece, a little bit. WashingTimes, 3 times Trump misled people. Misled people, the public, the media, on the tower meeting, the Trump tower meeting with the salacious Russian spy, the Russian honeypot spy. But Mueller said there was no there about Trump misleading people and that it's not illegal to lie to the media or the people. Sorry, and WashingTimes calls it a lie. It says these lies. Whatever. Whatever. Trump right now, you got to put yourself in Trump's shoes. Trump is on the edge of sweating bullets, not in the sense that he did anything wrong, but in the sense that he knows that the weaponization of the FBI and the CIA are in full force. He's new to this job. He's new to government, the ways of life, the way the government operates. I mean, he kind of knew, but he's never been here before. And think all the way back to when he first took office and he held out the olive branch, said, guys, I'll work with you, man, it'll be all good. Boy, they burnt that thing off. It's like lickety split. He had to learn. That learning curve took him 2 years. Now you see the thumbnail for the show. Donald Trump swinging. I mean, swinging for the fences, and he's knocking this out. He's taking no prisoners. Again, the Mueller report states that Trump wrote a press statement for his son, Don Jr., about the Russian lawyer and Trump Tower meeting and directed his aides to publicly disclose the email setting up the meeting. He's told us for years and years that he didn't know about the meeting. Whether he knew about the meeting or not, I don't care. The meeting was a setup. They met with they met with Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, prior to the meeting. And then after the meeting, they met back with Fusion GPS to report Fusion GPS, then back reporting to the Clintons. I don't care. This was a setup. This was a lying, cheating, spy setup from day one. We're going through the Mueller report right now. We're crushing this thing. We're just crushing it. Jeff Sessions. There's a lot of insight to what happened to Jeff Sessions, and I'm happy that it's now coming out. The Mueller report exposes the Jeff Sessions debacle, and it also sheds a little light on what Trump was thinking in his mind frame back then. Because as you know, things seem to be in disarray. The media claimed it was in full meltdown. Any day now, the whole Trump's going to quit. He's going to quit and walk away. So Trump told White House Don McGahn to stop Jeff Sessions from recusing himself. Don McGahn did not fulfill that order. He did not go ahead and do that. These are the obstruction things that they thought might be obstruction. Donald Trump has all the right in the world to tell the guy that he just appointed, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and on day one recuses himself of the Russiagate thing. He has all the right in the world to tell Jeff Sessions, you better get your ass back in line and unrecuse yourself. This is ridiculous. Why? Trump even said it. Why wouldn't you even tell me that you had thoughts of this? Right? Why didn't you tell me you had thoughts of this? Back to the Mueller report. Here's the thoughts. Trump called Sessions at home and told him, he said, unrecuse yourself. And he said, I'm not going to do anything or direct you to do anything. I just want to be treated fairly. That sounds like Donald Trump lingo. That sounds like his talk. So I'm going to believe he did that. There's nothing wrong with that. He deserves a fair shake. Look, guys, this is right after the election. This is right after he's getting hammered from all sides. Remember, we had Paul Rhino Ryan. The ghost of John McCain had not left the earth. John McCain was still here. Mitt Romney blasting. We got the GOP blasting. Reince Priebus had been got rid of. Trump saw the full effect of the weaponization, FBI, the CIA, the DNC, the RNC, and the MSNBCs and the CNNs and CBS and New York Times and Washington Post. Donald Trump saw the weaponization of all of that on him. You think he's pissed? Yeah, I would be beyond pissed. Absolutely. I would be true to roof. Especially now that I'm also seeing that I've been spied upon and all of this is beyond illegal. So back to Jeff Sessions and the Mueller report. Trump called McCain, directed him to call Attorney General and say this to Jeff Sessions. Go to Jeff Sessions and tell him that the special counsels has conflicts of interests. Rod Rosenstein signed off on the last FISA warrant. Weissman, the angry Democrats, Mueller. There's lots of conflicts of interest. That's a fact. And go to Jeff Sessions and tell him he must remove special counsel, dissolve it. Sure, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. McCann did not, and he didn't because he said he worried about the Saturday night massacre that could have happened, meaning referring to Richard Nixon when he fired boatloads of people. However, Bill Clinton fired all kinds of people, and nobody said nothing about that. It's all right, whatever. I think he fired everybody in one cabinet. Whatever. It's okay. Okay. When this information leaked to the media, I guess McGahn leaked it because it was just Trump and McGahn unless there's somebody else in the room. Trump pressured McGahn to deny that they did that. Okay, whatever. It's personal conversation. Trump is in his right to say, why don't you go to Sessions and let him know it's conflicts of interest, unrecuse yourself, and shut this down. I'm actually glad all this has happened. And I'm telling you, God has something to do with everything and everything in its time. 2012, Trump would not have won against Barack Obama. It took another 4 years for us to get so incensed, so angered, so just beside ourselves with fire and fury, with the lights that we've never seen before, in order to see the light and understand that it was Trump that had to be elected to hijack the RNC, the GOP, to hijack them. And I'm talking with the chair here in the state of Ohio, local chairman here in Cincinnati, and they're saying right now the GOP in Ohio is now unified like they've never been unified before. Great news coming out of Ohio. I don't know about your other states, but I'm just telling you right now, the Republican Party in the state of Ohio unified like they've never been unified before. And so then this back to the Mueller report. Trump said the special counsel would be the end of his presidency, said, "Oh God, I am effed." Oh God, I'm effed. All right, let's think about that for a second. Donald Trump is pissed. Donald Trump is thoroughly upset with everything going on. So upset with Jeff Sessions recusing himself. So he's got nobody in his camp. He's having to fire Bannon. He's having to reorganize. Omaroso has to be fired. I mean, all these crazy knuckleheads that just got weird, just got goofy. Once getting into the White House, they couldn't. Just got. I'm trying to tell you that is a family-friendly show, but for all intents and purposes, just got goofy. Went off the rails, had to fire him. So he's doing that. He's trying to set up an organization, a well-oiled machine, and he cannot because he's being attacked from all sides. Try fighting a two-front war, much less fighting a six-front war, 12-front war. They're all coming after him, and they're not letting up. So I'm not upset that Trump said that. I don't take that as meaning anything other than how pissed he was and how he felt that he was losing his position to the deep state that were attempting the coup that we know was the coup, being spied upon illegally by Barack Hussein Obama. Trump also told Sessions to resign. Sessions turned in his resignation, but Trump didn't accept it. I find that funny. Leaders act quickly, and then sometimes we'll slow down without actually the execution. Make a decision fast, and then once that starts to go into play, then it comes back to you for execution. You may hold off on that. Good idea. Very, very smart for Trump to do what he did because we saw the wretchedness that was Sessions for doing nothing. And it wrecked this country for 2 straight years. Russian collusion bullcrap. The media went wild with obstruction, and Donald Trump tweeted out angrily. This is obstruction stuff that was in the Mueller report. I know it makes no sense. But Mueller and the DNC and all the angry 18 Democrats and the $30 million, that don't make no sense either. All right, this is where we get into the part that may shed some light on Jeff Sessions for you and for me. When I read this part about Jeff Sessions, I was a little bit beside myself. And the level of anger and frustration I had with Jeff Sessions, I kind of started to let go. We said on this show, folks, years ago, we said on this show, they've got Jeff Sessions. There's something that they've got him made. Jeff Sessions has been made. And they've got something on him. The Mueller Report. Barack Obama sent Russian ambassadors to Jeff Sessions' office for a talk, for a meeting. McCabe, FBI, opens investigation right away, but it doesn't say Obama sent the Russian ambassadors, but it's been reported the Obama administration set the meeting up. Just like Kislyak. Somebody got a hold of Kislyak. Either somebody got a hold of Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, or because of Obama expelling Russians. See, there was the Russian narrative was running before the election, and Obama wanted to ramp up that feeling and that hatred for Russians. Crazy nonsense. So he expels Russian diplomats, triggering or working with Kislyak. Kislyak calls General Flynn while on vacation in Puerto Rico. And either doesn't remember the call was short, he's vacationing with his family and his wife after a long, hard-fought battle. They won, long, hard-fought battle. Needs some R&R, some time off. Could have been drinking, could have been partying, could have been half asleep, could have been half awake. Could have been with the wife, could have been distracted with the kids. I take phone calls all the time and I don't remember them. That really does happen. And when you're General Flynn and you're taking dozens of phone calls from people around the world every hour, every day, every minute, and the FBI comes back to you months later on purpose with the transcript of your phone call because they're spying on you illegally, and you don't remember, you're going to prison. Keep that in mind. Remember that, folks. This is what they did to Jeff Sessions. They got to him. They got Jeff Sessions. Now, we were talking about this in our private message group. If Barr has Sessions testify, I'm not sure who said it. This might have been Sam that said this, either Sam or Bill. But we had great conversations in our group this afternoon, and I can't thank you guys enough for contributing to the show. Thank you very much. But if Barr has Sessions testify, Sessions could get some revenge. Sessions could get some revenge if Barr has him testify. Barr was asked if he's going to have Mueller testify. Sorry. They asked Barr if he would allow Mueller to testify. Barr said, yeah, sure, whatever. That doesn't bother me. Have him testify to Congress. Now we've got Democrats calling on the Hill. Everywhere. Everybody needs to testify. We need to drag a whole nother special counsel. We need everybody in the special counsel to be subpoenaed, and all y'all need to testify. Can I get an amen? Can I get somebody to testify? This is where it's going because they have to cover, folks, all this crazy nonsense. Stop me if you've heard somebody else say this. I have not heard anybody else say this, but stop me if you have. Don't forget that today's information of the Mueller Report will be used to distract the fact that Trump's entire campaign was spied upon. Everybody, even after the election, based on no evidence. Zero evidence. Lied to the FISA courts, lied to the judges, have the judges testify. Have them all up there testify. Find out what they did know and when they knew it. As we get out of Jeff Sessions, we get into Comey. Trump fired Comey, saying the Russian investigation is a hoax. Thought that was obstruction. No, man. I will say this, though. This is something that we all tend to forget. This was put together by the RNC, as they're getting a little bit more savvy nowadays, with the video clips. This is the montage of Comey is a bad man.
Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
Well, I was appalled by what Director Comey did.
Comey acted in an outrageous way.
He made a mistake. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Howard Dean, former Democratic candidate for president, says, quote, he may have destroyed the credibility of the FBI forever.
This was a very serious error in judgment.
The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
What he did was unprecedented and outrageous, damaged the institution of law enforcement in this country.
The lowest moment in the history of the FBI.
I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
LionComey.com. Guys, that's why you come to this show, because I give it to you real. This is no joke, you guys. This is no joke. This was Comey. This was what he's doing. Then he's running the streets talking to, giving his book tour, and he says insane things like this.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the stateroom. How did that happen?
I sent them.
2 FBI agents ending up in the stateroom that's to interview General Flynn.
Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. The protocol, 2 men that all of us have perhaps increased appreciation for over the last 2 years. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
This is the deep state. This is the coup. This is what we've been talking about this entire time. This is the absolute insanity. Again, real quick, back to the Mueller report. Trump expresses to Comey to let General Flynn go. Can you let Flynn go? Can you let him go? No, he doesn't let him go. There's no obstruction there. He's allowed to ask his own. Comey works for Trump. Don't forget that. Comey works for Trump. Mueller says firing Comey, evidence does not establish cover-up or conspiracy. So we're going to let this one go. Threats to Flynn's lawyer, Manafort, and Cohen. Trump's lawyer talked to General Flynn's lawyer and said, hey, can you guys give us a heads up on things that you're going to be saying, questions, or if there's anything that we need to know about so that we can protect ourselves? General Flynn's lawyer said, hell no. Donald Trump's lawyer fired back and said, I'm going to report this to Donald Trump as you being a hostile actor. Mueller report thinking that might be obstruction, but it's not. Thanked Manafort for not flipping. Nope, not obstruction. Tells Cohen to stay strong. Then flips. Trump calls him a rat. No flipping. Nancy Pelosi, a 10-year journey Barr has thrown out his credibility and the Department of Justice independence with his single-minded effort to protect Trump. Adam Schiff going nuts. Just been informed the DOJ that we'll receive Mueller's report only after Barr gives a press conference. Once again, Barr wants to shape the public's perception of the report. This is on top of the reports DOJ secretly briefed the White House. This is not justice, just PR. More spin and more spin. And this by Joe DeGenova. This was from last night, Joe DeGenova on Sean Hannity's show, talking about what's to come.
Joe DeGenova, Sarah Carter, and Victoria Tunsing, good to see you all. Joe, when you said the first time on this show, bad cops, being the son of a prison guard for 25 years, and my mom and my dad, a family court probation guy, and family full of cops, and 2 deity, 2 FBI guys, it stung. But there is those 10, 12 people. It's not the rest of them.
Sean, the day of the news conference that James Comey gave exonerating Hillary Clinton after accusing her of a series of crimes, I called him a dirty cop. That's what he is. He remains that today and disgraced. Tomorrow morning, a clean cop, Bill Barr, the new sheriff in town, is going to hold a news conference at 9:30. By doing so, he will confront a rebellious, abusive Congress under the charge of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. He will start a process which is going to lead to a series of federal grand juries to hold accountable all the people you're talking about. And he will conclude, without saying it tomorrow, that it all started in the White House. Barack Obama knew about this from day one. He authorized it. Brennan and Clapper informed him. Everybody knows that's where we're headed, and it's about time, because a lot of very innocent people have been hurt. Not just Donald Trump, who has been absolutely outrageously harmed by what President Obama authorized, and now the chickens are coming home to roost, as the Reverend Wright used to say in Chicago.
This is a fact. This is what's going down, and this is what's happening. I couldn't be more pleased with Attorney General Bill Barr. Phenomenal. I'm just so excited, folks. This is a new day. This is a new day. Don't let this information sway you and catch you off guard. And don't forget, today's information will be used to distract everybody from the fact that the entire Trump campaign was spied upon illegally, even after the election, based on no evidence. Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, General Flynn, absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Cohen indicted on issues unrelated to Trump whatsoever, and Manafort indicted on things unrelated to Trump whatsoever. Not registering as a foreign agent, which John Podesta's brother, Tony Podesta, was given a heads up to go ahead and re-register for things that you did 5 years in the past, but we're going to send Paul Manafort up the river for the rest of his life. And Cohen got no sympathy for that POS. Cohen is now caught lying again. The Mueller Report blows Cohen up, blows up his testimony for the second time. More lying. Cohen, brah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that there, Cohen. You got some problems there. But anyways, folks, you're listening to New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. Jump over to smith.tv, join our Patreon crew, check out the shop, check out all the links. And if you like to listen to the show, audio only, right there on the website, you can see the list where you can find it on iHeartRadio as well. And join us at New Right Network. .com on the web as well. That is our big home of new writers. And with that being said, Thursday thoughts. Whew. Donald Trump just took one on the chin and still standing. I'll tell you what, it's good times, folks. Good times. Share this with your friends and your family, and I will see you tomorrow for Freedom Friday, as I like to call it, Friday feeling. Some more great news coming out. The economy is taking off. Trump is doing his job, and we couldn't be more thrilled at what Attorney General Barr is doing. Don't listen to the Democrats. Stay plugged in right here, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.